Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you are enjoying this show, you should also check out the Premier Voice Podcast, hosted by myself, Aaron TicTok Sands, the Star Rider Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal, where we discuss many topics within the culture, from music, love, relationships, sex, politics, and many more. We could make you laugh, but the show could also get a little raunchy and may not be for everybody. But if you're willing to take that risk, check out the Premier Voice Podcast every Wednesday, a part of the Premier Powerverse. Other show you could check out on the Premier Powerverse is King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod every Monday at 12 p.m. And Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Listen and support on every show in the Premier Powerverse. Thank you for listening to this message and enjoy the show. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 8. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Voice Podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And we are finally breaking from our short break, and I am now giving y'all the final 6 episodes of Season 8 of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And on this episode, we have a special guest. We have a certified personal trainer. She have a podcast show called Redefining Wellness Podcast. And we're going to talk to her about her health, being a certified personal trainer. We're going to talk about her podcast show, which I really enjoyed, by the way, and many more. This was a really dope conversation. I can't wait for y'all to check out this episode. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
This is Paige from the Badass Fabulous podcast, and you're listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, it's time for MrGentleman Facts, quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, stop worrying what other people think about you. And I say this because it's going to be people who going to worry what everybody think about you, but that only holding you back from bringing out the best version of you, because you're always worrying what other people want you to do, when at the end of the day, you should be worried what you need to do, because that was most important. And that is today, MrGentleman Facts, quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Up Series Thursdays, where we have all of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcasts every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheer!
Hey, this is Nique from the Redefining Wellness podcast, and you're listening to the MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I got my special guest. She is a certified personal trainer. She is a podcast host, and she got a podcast show called the Redefining Wellness Podcast. We got Nique in the building. Miss Nique, how are you doing?
I am great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good, and I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. And I definitely really like your show.
Oh, thank you.
And it's crazy because I discovered your show on Threads, and I heard your show, and I'm like, yo, I really like her show. I like her intro. I love your intro. I can hold your intro or you get me hype. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, but of course we're gonna dive more into the podcast. But first thing first, we'll ask you some icebreaker questions. So I'll ask you, where are you from?
I am from gorgeous Prince George's, Pretty Girls County, as I think most people know it, but Prince George's County, Maryland.
Dope. So how do you describe yourself as a person? Give me 3 words.
Outgoing, motivating, and I would say quirky.
Good choice, Sam. Those are good choices. What is one thing that brings you peace?
Ooh, I'm a really simple person. A nice cup of coffee, a nice hot cup of coffee, and just putting my feet up and just, yeah.
Okay, that's always definitely a good choice. That's definitely a good choice. And what is in your headphones right now? It could be an album, a song, or even a podcast. What's in your headphones right now?
I have a lot of things that are in my headphones right now.
And I know you do talk about this a lot on your show about what type of music you listen to too.
So actually recently I've been getting a little bit more into an artist called Duran Bernard. Music T. He just came out with an album called Bloom, so I've really been listening a lot to him. Podcasts that I've been listening to, I probably listen to a podcast every day of the week, but one that I think really gives me a lot of joy it's called the That Was Us podcast, and it's literally just a rewatch podcast of the show This Is Us. And so it's Sterling K. Brown, Mandy Moore, and Chris Sullivan, the guy that played Toby on the show. And they just go through like all the ins and the outs of the episodes. I look forward to that show on Tuesdays.
I ain't gonna hold you. This Is Us was definitely a really dope show.
Yes.
Now I kind of want to rewatch it now because that was amazing show. I'm not gonna hold you. That was an amazing show. So now let's try to get a little into it. So let's talk about your beginning of life. So how was you growing up?
I think most people would probably say that I lived a little bit more privileged for, I would say, a Black girl growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s. I'm from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And if anybody knows about PG County, PG has held like the ranking of like the richest Black county in America. So there was a lot of opulence around me. But at the same time with that opulence, there was a lot of one thing that we have here is like trying to keep up with the Joneses. So you have to have a particular look, a particular walk, a particular talk, you know, all of those things just to say that you are from this area. So while I had a great childhood, like we went on family vacations, I went to summer camp and, you know, all of those things, it didn't, I was not remiss from the typical struggles that I think any American teenager goes through when you're going in through that space of adolescence.
I mean, I could relate. 'Cause I also done a lot as a kid, you know, summer camp and stuff like that too. So I definitely could relate to that as well. Also, I mean, I didn't have the great childhood, but yeah, I know exactly how you feeling. So, how all that you've been through made you the person that you are today?
All that I've been through, it's made me, and I've have a love hate with this word. It's made me very resilient. I've experienced a lot of things so far in my adulthood that I think it would probably make most people crumble. But it's made me very, very resilient, but it's also made me very free thinking. And also to be in a space where I have learned how to take up as much space as I can and not feel ashamed for taking up that space, just because growing up for me, I was really taught like I couldn't be the boldest and the loudest and the most whatever. And I've come to a place where that is my superpower of being the boldest, the loudest, the most of a person. And I've learned that it's okay for me to take up as much space as I want to. And so I help other people feel comforted when they're in my space. I'm like, baby, take all the space you want. I'm not here to put boxes or reins around you. Just don't do that to me.
I feel you. And you're doing an amazing job. And we're about to talk about what you think that you do now, and you are a certified personal trainer. Mm-hmm. So what inspired you to get into that?
So what's funny is that I did not think that I was going to be doing what I'm doing. I always thought that I was going to be doing something a little bit more in psychology. So I wanted to go to school to become a sex therapist. So I thought I was going to do that. But then my mother is also Jamaican. So she was like, well, not one. She wasn't having it. Like she was sucking her teeth, all of the things. She was like, a sex therapist. What? Like just, So I went to school, went away to college, and I thought I was going to do like athletic training or become a physical therapist. But one of the things with becoming a physical therapist or an athletic trainer, you have to take a class called gross anatomy. And that's when you work on like the cadavers so that you can see and feel and touch the muscles and understand like the movement. I wasn't trying to do all that. So I ended up doing the exercise science program, and that was more geared towards working in what's called phase 4 cardiac rehab. So that's when people have had like strokes and heart attacks. They go through phase 1 through 3 in the hospital or, you know, in a very controlled environment. Phase 4 is more so, okay, I think I'm ready to go back out into the world. Help me to strengthen my muscles and to get me in a space more so like occupational therapy, essentially. So then I ended up going into that space and I started working in corporate fitness. So I managed wellness accounts for companies. And then COVID happened. And then I started working for Orange Theory and I started my own business and here we are today.
And I know that's really dope. That's really dope. And you're doing amazing things. So keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
So why is it important to take care of your health? Why is it important to take care of your health? And if you could give my audience one tip on health, what would that be?
It's your reasoning for why you want to be healthy. It's not a one thing that everybody should, this is why you need to be healthy. Your reason and my reason for being healthy, it's two completely different things because we have two different walks in life. You know, one of the things that I cannot stand is when you're on social media and you see these fitness, I wouldn't even say fitness gurus, but like these fitness influencers, or people that don't have these credentials, and they're like shaming you on the internet of you should be like this and you should be focused on this. That's not how this works. I have clients that I work with that are mothers. I have clients that I've worked with that are, that have come out of surgery, that all kind of different things. So the reason why they're trying to be healthy is not the same for me, who is a single childless woman that has not needed to have any major surgery. Knock on wood, you know what I'm saying? So your reasoning of being healthy is your own. For me, I choose to be healthy because I want to have a life of longevity. I don't want to be the reason that I am incapacitated, or I don't have mobility, or that I can't have a particular quality of life that I feel like I should have, while I'm here rolling on this side of glory. But one thing that I think I really want people to know when it comes to your health, your fitness, your wellness, your nutrition, it is not a one size fit all, one magic pill. It's not a one trick pony. It is a lifelong decision to be committed and to have a level of consistency that you're able to hold on to, so that you're able to maintain this thing that is called wellness. Too many times people look at health or fitness from that quick fix, or I'm only doing it so I can fit into this dress. I'm only doing it so that I can look a particular way, so that I can achieve this thing. And then once you achieve that thing, most of the time people stop, or they get to a particular weight, they stop. They get to a particular dress size, they stop. And then we wonder why we're constantly on this yo-yo pattern of weight going up and down and all of these things. You have to remain consistent in the game, so that, one, you don't fall backwards, but also so that you don't have to go through these extreme measures of trying to lose weight. And one of the things that people don't talk about with yo-yo dieting, it's not simply doing the grapefruit diet or doing this or doing that. It's that constant gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. That's what yo-yo dieting is. So we have to get ourselves to a space where we stay between that like 5 and 10 pound range. And that's your thing. But having this excessive roller coaster, that does a lot to your body. And for women, it very much affects our hormones. So that's a big thing I want people to understand, is that fitness, health, wellness, nutrition, it is a lifelong thing. It is something that you are consistently doing, that you have that pattern, that, you do have some adjustments, life does happen, you know what I'm saying, which may cause you to fall off a little bit, but you have a bigger picture in mind, versus for aesthetic reasons, or versus for receiving something. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get sucked into that vacuum of, I'm only doing it so that I can receive something. Whereas the thing is what you can put back out into the world once you have reached a level of consistent health and wellness.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was dealing with that. We just talked about the yo-yo effect, the up and down. I was dealing with that since all the 2020s, and then I called last year, something happened. A health scare, I should say, happened with me. My cholesterol got OD high, so I started to take my health and fitness way more serious. Change my diet, working out every day, day and night, and then I lost probably 45 to 47 pounds between last year to now. So. Yeah, I completely get it, and yeah, that's a good tip. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
So, as you know, you do have a podcast show called the Redefining Wellness Podcast. But before we dive into the podcast, what inspired you to start a podcast?
I feel like at the time when I started my first podcast, my first show was called the Uniquely Fit Podcast, and it was everything about fitness. And I really wanted to start that because I wanted to document at the time my weight loss journey. When I had started that podcast, I had lost maybe about 60 pounds by that time. So I wanted to talk about all of the different things that I did. I wanted to talk about debunk a lot of myths about some diets and the things that people think that they know when it comes to fitness and nutrition. And I'm like, you actually don't know anything. you're not, no, they're not a professional. So just to debunk some stuff. Then once again, COVID happened and I, kind of lost my mojo with that. And I think a lot of people kind of lost their mojo around that COVID season. And so when I started the Redefining Wellness podcast, I knew I wanted to do a show where I interviewed people, but also a show where I could really talk about what does it really look like to be well in the midst of not just storms, but in the midst of our sunniest of seasons. Because sometimes we don't even, people always talk about, oh my gosh, I was depressed, so I gained weight. Oh my gosh, work got busy, so I gained weight. But we don't even talk about the people that, oh my gosh, life is so awesome right now. I have the happy weight, people don't always know how to navigate even through that. So I really wanted to start that show to really talk about how every single day you can make a choice to redefine what wellness looks like for you. And it's a daily journey. It's not this big thing that people think it is. It's literally making one small change in your day that can optimize your wellness.
And like I said, I do listen to your show. I really do enjoy it. Definitely keep killing it.
Thank you.
I think this is one podcast show everybody definitely should listen to, especially if you want to know more about health and stuff like that. So thank you for doing the podcast.
Thank you.
And to all my audience, where they can listen to your podcast, where they can listen to it.
You can listen to the podcast on all podcast streaming networks.
Right, there you go. There you go. So, as a podcaster so far, what have been your biggest challenges?
Oh man, I think comparing myself to other shows or shows that may appear to be bigger, even shows that I listen to that have been around for like years, like over 10 years. That's my biggest challenge, is like feeling like, damn, why I don't got 10,000 downloads a week, stuff like that. So that's probably my biggest challenge, is that.
I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. I be doing that sometimes too. Even though I do a lot, but I'll be wondering myself, like, dang, how come my show not growing as it should, or how come it not as big as it should? I be having those at sometimes, but sometimes when you're doing good,
yes,
those comparison things start to go away. You don't worry about what other people doing no more.
Yeah,
worry about pretty much worry about what you're doing. So
and that's what I try. I try. Lord knows I try. Sure, I be trying.
I get it. So, what's the goal for your podcast? And what message you want audience to get out of your podcast? I mean, I think I probably know the obvious answer, but
my goal for my show, of course, I would love to sit on a stage of like a panel of like podcast hosts of a particular genre or whatever. I would love to be a little bit more like a wider reach, you know what I'm saying, with my message. And it's just the biggest goal is that, you can redefine your wellness. It does not have to look the way that social media says. And one thing that I was going to actually post on social media this week is, when people be talking about, here's what I eat in a day to help me lose 50 pounds, they're lying. They're lying. They're lying. I'm going to bleep myself. Them is lying.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, that's true. So I know you do have guests on your show, but if you had to interview anybody in the world right now, who would be your 3 dream guests to interview?
Oh my gosh, who would I love to interview? So I actually do have like a wish list. It's actually not even famous people. It's regular schmegular people that are on the internet. There is this girl. She's not a brand ambassador for Trader Joe's. She should have been though. But her page was called Black Girls in Trader Joe's. And she would come up with these great dishes and, she would give lots of great recommendations. I really love her. I would love to have her on my show. If I were to pick like a celebrity-ish type of person, it would be like a Tiana Taylor. I would love to interview her just because she, first of all, body tea. The body is tea. But I would love to just ask her, do you ever get flack for your body, and people kind of ridiculing you because, or sometimes they belittle her. I'm reading them comments because her genetics are just the way that they are. Like Tiana said, she was like, I be eating Doritos. Like, you know, I eat the things, you know what I'm saying? So I would love to interview her. But another, like, not super duper famous, I've always wanted to interview. There's this girl that I really enjoy. Her Instagram handle is Healthy with Kelsey, and she is a body inclusive personal trainer out of, I believe she's out of like Vancouver, Canada. And I've been following her for a couple of years, and she's been really inspirational. And she's kind of like myself. She was very small at one point in time, and she gained weight. I mean, people gain weight, you know, but when she talks about, like, you know, the ridicule that she experiences, but then she also talks about how people really celebrate her and really enjoy, you know, the content that she produces and the honesty and the vulnerability that she gives. I really appreciate that. And then I have to do one honorable mention. Ashley Pryor, she is the rowing instructor on Peloton. She is the only plus size girl on Peloton, first plus size girl on Peloton, and she's a Black woman. I would love to interview her.
I think I know who that is. I think I've seen her before.
Mm-hmm.
But those are good choices. But anything possible. Anything definitely possible.
Yes.
I appreciate you definitely get them on your show. Another thing you talk about on your show, not only you talk about, you know, health or even interview other people, you also talk about dating on your show.
Yes, I do.
So in your opinion, how do you feel about dating in this generation, and how does it affect you in your life?
Dating in this generation, it's an interesting journey, because it's not like when our parents were dating. There weren't as many distractions. You didn't have so much reach to someone across the country or across the world. And I think what has happened with dating, it has made people feel like you more popping than what you really are. It makes you think that you have more options than what you really have. Like, no, my guy, you're not that interesting. Like, no, girlfriend, you are not a bad bitch. Like, please relax. So I think it's made, in this generation, it's made people really feel themselves a little bit more than what a lot of people really should. And also, there's a lot of unrealistic expectations of the type of partner that you should have. Not everybody is supposed to, if we're looking energetically, not everybody is supposed to have a high volume man. Just like not every man is supposed to have a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's just, if we look at the statistics, if we look at energy exchanges, that's not how this life works. Like, and I think too many people think, because of what they see on the internet, they feel like that's what their real life should be. And it's like, in actuality, I need y'all to touch some grass and actually look at these couples when you watch them. Like, I do a lot of people watching. So when I see when I see people out, they're walking, they're holding hands, they're regular schmegular ass people. Like, it's okay to date a regular schmegular ass person. It is okay to date a welder. It is okay to date a guy that works on the supply chain, or that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why. It's the internet. It's the internet. Yeah. It's the internet. It's because somebody got on the internet and started showing off their man or showing off their girl, and then everybody's like, "Oh, well, I deserve a girl like that. Oh, I deserve a man like that." Get out of here.
And I agree with you 100%. I feel like the image of the internet, people see what they see, they want that, so they try to hide their expectations so they could get that, and it's very unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
The internet generation. Really bad, but I feel hopeful. I guess I feel hopeful, but it's just But I know you spoke about this a little bit, but as you know, we are in a pandemic. I guess the way, I mean, we in something now. We in something.
Yeah, we in something.
we in something. So, how did the pandemic affect you as a whole, and what habit taught you?
So the pandemic, it taught me how to pivot. I had got laid off from my job Like maybe we went into lockdown in March. I got laid off from my job by Memorial Day. And so I took like a month off. I lied. I didn't take a month off. I maybe took like 3 weeks off. And then I applied for another job because here in the DC area, gyms started opening back up. So that's when I first found Orange Theory. But also at the time, I was in a relationship, and it really showed me like, wow, this is how people like, this is what this living together thing is like. And it taught me like, it taught me things from this is what you should be receiving from a relationship. This is what you should not be receiving from a relationship. But it also taught me too that life has no limits. There's no limits to what you can experience. There's no limits on what you can receive. So as long as you believe that there is no limits to this life, there's truly no limits. Like, who really says you can't do something? Man is telling you, and I mean man, like man, fleshly man, is telling you that you can't do something, you can't have something. COVID taught me, do what the fuck you want to do. Like, and it's going to be okay. Take that moment to step out on faith, because who said you can't do it? You know, and also not to be so caught up in other people's insecurities when it comes to you stepping out on that faith, because they're telling you you can't do it because they couldn't believe that they could do it. That's what I've learned. When people tell you, oh, well, that's not possible. That's you think it's not possible for you. It's possible for me if I believe it's possible. So that's the biggest thing I think COVID taught me, is there is no limit to this life. And we have to stop treating it like you have to live in this box. You have to live in this space of containment, because it's like, oh, I can't, they said I can't do it. Who the fuck is they? You know, so that's what it taught me.
No, I agree with you 1%, because one, we were dealing with a lot. Two, people, a lot of people show their true colors during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Like people who throw it down for you, they doubt you and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a lot during that time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you know, pandemic, we dealt with a lot with pandemic. Of course, we had to reach the election, and this Mr. Not My President, whoever he is, whatever. Yeah, and we deal with a lot of mental health. So yeah. So why is mental health so important? And what challenges have you been dealing with mental health?
Mental health is very important, and I think it's in so many different facets. I think, first of all, with us both being Black folks need to really take mental health a lot more seriously and do that inner work to kind of understand, like, dig deep. Why did I feel like this in my childhood? Why did that happen? But one of the things I tell my clients is that you can lose all the weight you want, babes, but if that mental is not there, you're not going to stay on that track that you need to stay on track with. You know, mental health is important so that you can live that life limitless. You know what I mean? If you have those barriers in your mind because you have trauma that's clogging it up, or you have these triggers, you have these things, you're not really living a life. You know what I'm saying? And I know for myself, if we're looking at it from the space of like how it connects with your wellness, your health, for me, I didn't realize that I was an emotional eater. I didn't realize that I was coping with my sadness and my emotions by eating. But again, and like I mentioned earlier, when coming from a space where my voice, my emotions were contained in a box, I wasn't allowed to fully express myself, express how I feel. So I ate. And then when I ate, I became a hoarder with my food. So I would hide food in my room. I would hide food under my bed, under my pillows, like things like that. And I didn't realize until I got older, because I remember thinking Black girls don't eat their feelings. Black girls aren't emotional eaters. Like, Black girls don't get eating disorders. We're Black. We don't have them issues. We actually do. And I did not get a tackle on my emotional eating, which started when I was at the age of 8. I didn't get a hold of it until or even address it until I was about 32. And I'll be 36 in like 2 months. So I'm like 4 years into actually recognizing that I emotionally eat, and I have like a plan, like a better coping plan now so that I don't resort to that, because my emotional eating can get so bad to the point where I eat so much that I get sick, and then I start to purge because I've eaten so much. So I would go on these binges when I was sad. And so I still have these moments where if something happens and I'm really, really upset, I may feel in myself, go to Chipotle. Or I may feel, go to Cinnabon and just let's go, girl. But I'm able to be like, nah, because I'm feeling my feels. So let me express my feelings. Like, let me call a friend. Let me have this moment. But mental health has to be taken so much more seriously versus us being like, well, that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
No, doesn't make it right. So we have to understand why we're the way that we are. Why do we get triggered by these certain things? Why do we keep ourselves in certain situations? That is a mental health thing. Like, so many of us stay in these situations in our health, in our relationships, in our jobs, in our finances, because the underlying root of it is that we need some help mentally with getting through roadblocks, unlearning certain beliefs, unlearning, breaking up with those insecurities, actually finally making peace with certain things that happen to us and not living in it. That's one of the things my therapist always says. You can have your emotions, you can have your feelings, just don't settle in it, and sometimes it's hard, but it's a season. It's literally a season. And I've gone through depression, like getting out of my last relationship. I didn't realize how long of depression I was in at the very end of that relationship until maybe like, let's say sometime last year. Like, I didn't understand why I was moving the way that I was moving, and I didn't realize it's because I was depressed. And what a lot of people think depression looks like, they think depression is you're sitting in a room in the dark under a blanket and you're listening to Phyllis Hyman. That's not what depression is. Depression can be, I'm getting up and I'm going to work every day. Depression can be, I'm doing stuff. I can still be doing stuff and be really fucking depressed. You know what I'm saying? And not know what to do. And I think, unfortunately, the generation before us, they don't understand that. I remember one situation that really lives very deep within me is there was a beauty queen. I want to say this was in 2021 or 2022. Chelsea Christ, Black girl. I want to say she was like Miss something. God, I can't remember. But she unalived herself. And so it was due to her mental health. Like, she had been showing signs and things like that. And I remember I was talking to my father. My father called me and he was just like, I just don't understand how somebody that has everything, she's gorgeous, she has this, she has that. And I said, that doesn't mean anything, Dad. Like, you never know the pressure that girl was under to maintain that. That's a level of depression. Trying to stay at the status quo or to live on this pedestal that people put you on, that can lead to such a depression, And so I remember him asking me, he was like, do you ever have thoughts of that? Sure do. I sure have. I think we all have, if we want to be honest. But it's about, once you have that feeling, once again, are you sitting in it? Are you wallowing in it? You know what I'm saying? That's what makes the difference. But that's also why it's important to seek out a therapist, which it's not a taboo thing. I remember at one point in time, it was deemed as a very white thing to have a therapist, or something's really wrong with you. You got a therapist. I remember my mother, when I first went to therapy some years ago, I was like, I had to go see a therapist because I was so whatever. My mother said, she said, you're seeing a psychiatrist. And I said, there's a difference between a psychiatrist and a therapist, ma'am. Like, she said, you need a straight jacket. You need a pad room. You have a padded room. And I was like, that's not what, like, I remember my dad laughed at me for going to therapy. Like, mocked me for it, you know what I'm saying? And I remember, like, we had gotten into it and my dad was like, well, you can go talk to your therapist about it. And it was like, so it's Yeah, it's a needed, it's mental health, especially in the Black community, is very important because, and one thing that I have to make mention of is that the stigma around Black men and mental health is in hell. And I need us to do better. One of the things that really bothers me, and one of my girlfriends had pointed it out to me, women have to stop calling men, especially Black men, sassy because he wants to have boundaries, because he has, we praise women all the time, boundaries, queen, yes, yes, you're setting your limits, whatever, whatever. But as soon as a man has some kind of boundaries, he's sassy. You know what I'm saying? As soon as a man expresses, especially a Black man, expresses their emotions or they express some level of vulnerability, it's, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Black men have one of the highest suicide rates in the country. Black men have the highest levels of emotional distress because they're not given that safe space to really express their feelings and their emotions. So, like, I really hope that more Black men, and I've been seeing it, I've been seeing more Black men have been investing in therapy. And I'm just like, yes, go Black men, give me the Black boy joy. We want the Black boy joy, but we can't expect them, Black men, to give us that Black boy joy in return if we are not giving them that space to cradle and hold their emotions the way that we beg them to do. That's also a part of the mental health journey. You know what I'm saying? Being secure within your own emotions, that you can let somebody else sit in their emotions and you can just cover them and cradle them as they experience it. Yeah, that was a lot. But
I know. First thing first, thank you for sharing that. Mental health is very important, and I'm glad that you shared that.
mm-hmm.
And thank you for saying that about Black men, because that is definitely true. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Yes.
I do deal with mental health. I deal with anxiety. I deal with depression, and everything you describe about depression is exactly what I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, thank you. And I like to share on this show now because it is very important, especially in the Black community. And yeah, I happy to share that. Thank you.
Yes,
And
yes.
I do agree. Definitely get a therapist. 'Cause I did got a therapist myself. And
Good.
it helped me, during the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
days, and it also helped me with the show. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Of
And
course.
it was a lot. But it was a lot of good information. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And yeah.
Of course.
Oh, I hope that was a lot. So let's go. Let's go to something more positive. Let's go back.
Okay, okay.
So, what is your dream venture? Something that you always want to do, but you never got a chance to do yet.
Um, I want to. So one thing I've always said is I'm also a cycle instructor. I've always wanted to be a traveling cycle instructor. Like I've always wanted to travel around the country, and people be like, "Oh my gosh, Nique coming to our cycle studio!" Like, and they just be so hyped to take my class. So that's something I've always wanted to do, is do like a fitness tour and go to different cities and teach class for like a couple of days, and then go to the next city.
That would be dope. I mean, easy
Mm-hmm.
possibly.
Yes,
That'd be
it
dope.
is. It
That'd be
is.
dope. So, what other project that you got going on that you have not mentioned yet?
I have a couple of ebooks that I'm working on. I am working on a book to talk about some of the things that I wish I had like an auntie share with me, especially when it comes to relationships, health, friendship, all of that stuff. I think that one of the things, especially for women, and I can't speak from the space of other women, I can only speak from the space of Black women, is that our moms and our aunties do not talk about their downfalls in life, or their lessons that they've learned. And I think that it's important for us as younger generations, and then the generation but even behind me, that they know, like, this is where I bump my head. And I'm telling you this so you don't bump your head, and so that you can avoid the things that I went through. And I think that that's one of the things that I really want to achieve with writing this book. I am going to be speaking like out of with a few high school students in the upcoming week.
Nice.
We're continuing the podcast. It's just, life has just been such like a of things that I had to just take like a little moment to like catch my breath and like, figure things out. I am growing on the TikToks, and I'm hoping to get a YouTube channel started soon, because I know a lot of people have asked me about it, but it's more so people seeing my face and my antics and all of those things. I think that would help people to even understand like who I am on the podcast, because like I know people like they visualize like, man, what the hell is she back there doing? Or like I'll have episodes where like I can hear my mother upstairs on the phone, and I remember one episode I said, all right, y'all, my mom's on the phone, so y'all might hear her in the background. And that's before I learned how to do like the denoise and all of that stuff. So but yeah, I have a lot of things coming down the pipeline, a lot of great things. I'm just really excited to be in this better space of creativity, and that's like one of the reasons why like your mental health is important, especially if you're a creative. Like even being a podcast host, people don't realize that that's a creative space, and we have to have a free flowing highway for that creativity to come out. So we have to have the clear enough mind so that we can imagine it, so we can think it, and then we have to have that clearness, or that so that it can come out in whatever way that we're being creative. But we got some things up the sleeve. We got some things.
And that is really dope. And I'm gonna say this early. I want to bring you back for a future episode of Mr. Gentleman Like the podcast, because I love the conversation you did today. And yeah, I love the whole mental health conversation. But I gotta bring you back in a future episode.
Yes.
And also bring you back to talk about the ebooks and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I say that here early. I give you early. So what do you have to say for anybody that goes the same route as you? Say something inspirational, like for being a personal trainer, the podcast. Say something inspirational.
You are the subject matter expert of you. You are the subject matter expert of you. And that's from my soror, Brittany Williams. And that I hold on to that because nobody really knows you like you do. So don't try to run from who you are. You know you. You're the subject matter expert of you. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, this is the way it is, or this is how you should be living, or you should be doing. You know you. You know how you move. You know how you flow through this world. You know how your body is supposed to feel. You know the way that your body moves. You know all the things that you experience. Don't let nobody tell you that you don't experience those things. And don't let anyone tell you that your experience is not valid, because it is.
There you go. And that is a good message. So before you go, we're going to play a segment game.
Okay.
Called 5 Random Topics. Where I ask you five random topics. It could be a long response or a short response.
Okay.
And I will be joining with you on this as well. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So the first question is, what was the last movie you saw in the movie theaters?
Oh my. Oh, what was the last? Oh, okay. It was oh shit. I know I've been to the movies since before Black Panther 2 came out. I know I've been to the movies before that. Oh my gosh. Not me drawing a blank. I have definitely been to the movies before Black Panther. Damn. Oh. I just saw Wicked. I saw Wicked in November, December.
Yeah, okay, dope. So last movie I saw was Sonic 3.
Okay. I want to see that.
Yeah, I seen that in December. So yeah.
Okay.
It was really good. So I know you're a foodie, because I am too. What was the last food that you ate?
I nibbled on some of this chili lime chicken thighs that I made.
Okay, dope. I mean, I didn't have much. I had cashews, but I'm about to eat soon, so yeah. So what is your comfort TV show? Like something that you could always watch?
A Different World. Different World. I love that show. Like, and I have to keep myself from watching it all the time, because I will. It's so many shows that's out on TV right now that I should be watching, that I need to be watching. Everybody's been talking about Paradise on Hulu. And I watch a lot of documentaries, but I would say what brings me comfort is A Different World. And if I was to choose a documentary, it would probably be Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN. When I say that, between that and OJ Made in America, those are probably two of the best documentaries I've watched.
Dope. That's dope. Me. I mean, it used to be Degrassi. Used to be my.
Ooh, not Degrassi. Come on, Wheelchair Jimmy. Oh.
I mean, yeah, he ain't the same no more. I don't know who that is now. But nowadays it'd be like old school cartoons now, like the Flintstones, Jetsons, stuff like that. Yeah, I've been watching the old school cartoon channel now, so that's been Oh shoot, that's funny. Okay. Okay. What artist that you want them to come out with a new album who haven't came up with a new album yet?
So many artists. Frank Ocean, baby, please. Or Big Sean and Jhené Aiko, they had did an album called 2088. They need to come out with another one. Oh my gosh, who else should do another album, in my opinion? I would really love, and this is like a super blast from the past, if the Spice Girls came back and they came out with an album. No, if Destiny's Child came out with another album, like if they just gave us one more. Oh my gosh. But most definitely, top of the key, Frank Ocean. I need another Channel Orange. Like, Blonde did not bust down for me. I'm sure somebody that's listening is like, girl, what you talking about? Blonde is that girl. To me, it's not. Channel Orange, and there was a mixtape that he did when Novocaine had came out. He had a mixtape that had Whip Appeal on it, and you can only listen to that song on YouTube. But Frank, come on, man, bring it back.
You know what's crazy? Frank Ocean was actually my answer as well. Frank Ocean.
Really?
Yes, it was. I was just thinking about him earlier, like yesterday, too, when I was making this question. I was like, yo, Frank Ocean need to come with a new album.
He does. Oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
Channel Orange was so good.
That was a classic for real. That was a classic. I do listen to Channel Orange now. That is.
Yes.
But also, I'm going to say Outkast. I want Outkast to come with
Okay. And they need to do a non-poppy album. Like Future Speakerboxxx Love Below. It was very poppy. I need them to give me Aquemini energy. I need Stankonia type energy. Like, I can't remember all the words to it, but Southern Cadillac, play it. Like, we need that. I need that Outkast.
Yeah. I got one more. I'm gonna say Maxwell. Since he only come out with an album like every 7 years, he still got like 5 more left of that same series. So he only come up with 2 so far. So yeah, the Black Summer Nights album.
That was a good album.
It was. Especially the first one.
Yes. Woo.
So all right. So here's my last one. This might be a little controversial due to right now.
Okay.
Out of the 3, who is your favorite out of the big 3? Kendrick Lamar, Drake, or J. Cole?
You know what's funny is I was actually listening to Elle Varner, Blast from the Past. I know some people probably sitting like, whoa, yeah, I haven't heard that in a while.
Back, me either.
I was listening to Elle Varner, and it was her first single. I only wanna give it to you. I love that song. And J. Cole is on it. And I was listening to it and I said, this is the song where I fell in love with J. Cole. The way that he sang that hook at the end and laughed. But see, that's hard because I remember like when Drake came out with You Wanna Be My Replacement, Girl.
Oh, you're back. Right. That was like after Degrassi, literally.
Oh my gosh. And then like Kendrick, I'm not gonna front. If I had to choose, okay guys, please don't be mad at me. If I had to choose, I'm probably gonna choose Drake.
I figured. I won't be mad at you, but I figured.
I might have to choose Drake. He just has so many bops. Like, I was driving the other day too, and he has a song. I forgot what album it's on. It's probably on the one Take Care, but he has a song Come Through. Man, you can't tell me that's not a bop. You can't.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to choose Drake. Sorry, guys.
I know. For me, I've been a kid. Always been a Kendrick fan. Way before the beef. Way before.
Yeah.
The beef. One of my old coworkers introduced me back in 2011 with this song called "Spiteful Chant," and I've been a fan of Kendrick ever since. J. Cole, J. Cole always dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He's always dope. Drake, first 3 albums really, and it probably certain songs after, but then now Drake no.
I haven't listened to the new album, but like his first 3, it's heavy rotation. But I think the one for me is the one where his head is in the clouds. I forgot that album.
Nothing was the same.
Yes, nothing was the same. And Views, and Views came out during a musical year, 2016. My God, what a year of music that was. Views came out, Coloring Book came out, A Seat at the Table came out, Formation came out. It was a lot of music that year. But I have to say that his new stuff, But the last one, I did listen to the last one. Not the one with Certified Baby Daddy, the one before that.
Oh yeah. The Scorpion. I think Scorpion was before.
Oh no, wait. Maybe Certified Baby Daddy is on the one with the Too Sexy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I actually liked that album. It had a lot of like rock your hips type music on it.
But if I had to choose an order, Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake. Yeah.
I would probably do, if I was thinking more of like lyricist type stuff, Drake is at the bottom. If I look at it from a lyricist space. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But Ms. Nique, thank you for coming on the show. It was definitely a really amazing conversation. I really enjoyed myself. And thank you for sharing your stuff about health, sharing about the podcast, and many more. And I definitely got to bring you back for a feature episode of MrGentleman, like the podcast. And once again, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And of course, before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you, and drop where everybody can listen to your podcast.
So you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at HeyNiqueV, HeyNiqueV. You can listen to the Redefining Wellness podcast wherever you get your podcasts, on whatever podcast streaming network is your favorite, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to iHeartRadio to Good Pods to all of them. We out there.
Right, there you go. And by the way, I like the cover art for your podcast too.
Thank
I like the
cover. I made it myself.
That is dope. And once again, thank you everybody, and we'll be right back. Hello everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. Now, I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spinoff Series Thursdays. And Spinoff Series Thursday is the new home for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spinoff Series that brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music Podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called The Face Off, which is a versus inspired game. And we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the old school show that featured myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the old school show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk Podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Presents Spin-off Series Thursday, a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday. The old school show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. True! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into this latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you to my special guest, Nique, from the Redefining Wellness Podcast, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your healthy tips and everything. You keep doing amazing things. And thank you for coming on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you want to be a guest on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, kenypgent@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_MrGentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken _Mr. Gentleman, GentleMan, and we can set something up because I am still looking for guests for season 9 of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sunday for the main series, every Thursday for a spin-off series Thursday, where we have shows like a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Date Night Talk Podcast with myself, Miss Vanna B, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. And the old school show, myself and the star Roddy Rod, every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Also, look out for the newest spin-off series Thursday show, the Top 20 Countdown Show, the series with myself and Jalen, coming this fall, a part of spin-off series Thursday lineup. And looking for the new season of all spin-off series Thursday shows, a conversation about music and the old school show will be returning in June. And Date Night Talk will be returning for season 3 on April 10th. So save the date and look out for all the new season for all of the spin-off series Thursday shows. You can check me out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pods, Podchasers. The more y'all rate the show, more people know about MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can also check me out on the Premier Voice Podcast with myself, Aaron TicTok Sands, Star Rider Rod, Long Live the Chief Money Mel. New episodes of the Premier Voice Podcast every Wednesdays at 12 p.m., part of the Premier Powerverse Network. Other shows in the Premier Powerverse Network, King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands. You can check out all episodes of King Talk with Aaron Sands right now. And look out for the new show, After Hours with Aaron Sands, coming soon. You should also check out all episodes of Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod. New episodes coming soon in the future. Look out for new episodes of Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Money Mel, coming soon. Support, listen to every show in the Premier Powerverse Network. MrGentleman Lifestyle Shadows will be returning on the next episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. But since this is Women's History Month, I just want to say shout out to all of the women hosts who have an amazing show right now who is killing it. There's a lot of people to name, but I want to shout out to every woman who's been killing it doing this show, to keep doing amazing things and let your voice be heard. Y'all all are doing amazing. Shout out to all the women. We do acknowledge Women's History Month on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. So yeah. And y'all already know what time it is. Time for MrGentleman Lifestyle Achievement, where we spotlight everything MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is doing. And of course, we had the Good Pod charts. And for top 100 shows, we are not on the chart for top 100 shows because we haven't had any episodes in a while. For Society and Culture on the main chart, we are not on the chart. We got knocked out on the charts, but we are on the indie charts. We're on 25 on the indie charts. And for Personal Journal, we just got knocked out. The number 1 star, and we down to number 8 on the number charts, and number 4 on the indie charts. So thank you everybody that continue to listen to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Good Pods. And also follow us on Good Pods, MrGentleman, where you could listen to each other podcasts, you could rate each other show, see what everybody listens to, and of course we have the charts. So add me on Good Pods and continue to support MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on all podcast platforms. And of course, check out the official website of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, where you can listen to every episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, all 240 episodes of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check out every video that we have on the website, from the audio version of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, from MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV, which this episode does have a MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV, and MrGentleman Fact Quote Today, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ken, aka MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Ken, aka MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check out every guest who's been on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. All 76 guests who've been on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check out their guest profiles right now. For every guest, including Nique, is added to the profile right now. Check out every guest appearance that I've been on. Y'all can check out my latest guest appearance from Visit Vedic Places with Coral. Shout out to him for having me on his show. And we have many more guest appearances to come. And of course, check out the future merch of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. www.tpublic.com. Search MrGentleman Lifestyle Store, where we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, masks, and many more. Support the merch store so we can upgrade your listening experiences. So check out the official merch store from MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. www.tpublic.com. Search MrGentleman Lifestyle Store. And check out the official website from MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. And once again, thank you everybody who check out the latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. We have 5 more episodes left of season 8 of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And on the next episode, we have a self-help author and a content creator on the show. And we're going to talk to her about her journey of being a content creator, her book, and many more. And once again, thank you everybody for listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Have a good day or night, wherever you're listening to this episode.
What's up, y'all? It's your favorite Virgo host, Shakita Johnson from the Chronicles of a Virgo podcast, and you are now locked into the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.